Hello everyone. So after spending hours trying to find a solution to this problem, I've finally found one and I would like to make a video to show how I came up with the solution. So I've established a lookup relationship from the case object to the lead. So there can be many cases to a lead and just one lead record to a case. And from the lead record, I'd like to have a button where I can either choose an existing case record that's already been created, or I can choose to create a new case. So I created a Screenflow for this. So I pass the lead ID to the record ID of the current record that I'm on. I can choose whether I want a new or an existing case. And then upon answering those questions and the path will be chosen in a decision element, I can get a record or a record choice list meeting the criteria of the subject that the user enters. I created a record choice set to display all case records that matched the search criteria given by the user in the previous screen. And then I actually update the case object with the lead ID of the current lead for record from which I've invoked the flow. Otherwise, I could have created a new case altogether with the subject, and I can add as many fields here as I want. And I didn't have a record variable, so I chose to set the fields and which values should be set for those fields on the new case object record. And here I've done the same. I've updated the lead field with the record ID for the newly created case object. I tried using the unofficial Salesforce package here to control the behavior of the Screenflow after clicking the finish button, but it seems to be that it doesn't work on custom buttons or actions. So I'll go into the details and versions of the flow so I can get the URL. So I'll copy that. And now I want to create the button on the object for which I'm creating. So although I'm adding the button on the lead record page, it's actually a button to add onto the case. So I've gone over the object manager to get to the case object, buttons, links, and actions. I've chosen new button. So let's create this button. I want to create a list button because I'll be adding it to the related list. And here I'll add my URL for the flow which I want to invoke from the button. Go and save. And now I want to add the button to the related case lists on the lead object. So to do that, I need to update that on the classic page layout. So I'm going to related lists. This is the related cases list that I added after establishing the lookup relationship from case to lead. Here I've got buttons. I'm not going to worry about specific layouts. And as you can see here, so I've got two. I'm going to leave them because I want to demonstrate the difference in the two flows that will be invoked here, or buttons, sorry. And so add case, I've already added that there. Save. And now I'm not going to debug my flow or anything. I'm just going to demonstrate the problems that we're going to encounter. So here, that's the button that I've created to start the flow. going to be taken to a Screenflow. I'm going to add a new case just so I can find it easier, so I know what I'm talking about. Name it whatever I want. Default values I'll leave. Okay, so I've renamed the finish button. You can call that whatever you like, but I've got to go back to lead because that's the purpose of the button. And now, as you can see, it's take the standard behavior of Salesforce Screenflow is that upon clicking the finish button from the last screen, it takes you back to the first screen. And you get stuck in this constant loop. What I'll also do is I'll start the developer console and I'll see what happens when I run this flow. So here, add case. Okay. User info, I can't see the record ID has been taken, so I'm going to make another new case. Next. Let's see what it's done. And this is the... So I can't see anywhere. So if you look at the... I should see this lead record ID has been written into the record ID variable, but it doesn't look like it has. And if I look into my related list, so I should have created a new one at 2:53 p.m. and it doesn't look like it's it hasn't created the case for me. So there's actually two problems here. One is getting stuck in this constant loop, not being able to control the behavior of the Screenflow, or that it doesn't redirect me back to the lead record page from which I started from, nor does it pass the record ID to the lead ID to the record ID variable. So I've found a solution to one of the problems. If you look on the Salesforce documentation, there's a section there on how to control the finish behavior of Screenflows. I can get it to go back to the object using the object code, or the record ID, which is what I want to be able to do. So if we go down here, this return URL tells the flow URL where to redirect to. So return URL, and you only need to really then update this section to the related, relative URL, as I call it here. So what I did there, I'll go back to cases, I'll go back to the buttons, new cases. So I made a new button. I'm just going to start from there. So to the first section here, I've asked to have the lead ID passed onto the record ID in the Screenflow, and I've also replaced the relative URL with the lead ID. The rest it will do, it'll add the organization and whatnot in the URL. So I'll save this and just take note. The button's called new cases. I already added this to the page layout in Salesforce Classic. I'll save. I'll go back to leads, and so that's the button which will start then the add cases Screenflow. So I'll go on to that. I'll make another new case, so then at least I've got a modified date. I'll call it anything. Showing how Screenflows. Next, and then I'll see this is the finish button, and it's taking me back to the lead record page. And if I look down, I might need to refresh it. Oh, here we go. So I can showing how Screenflows work. So that's it created the case. And I'll see here, yeah, it's related then to the lead that I went back on. So yeah, that's how you create a button on a related list and control the behavior of what happens when clicking finish and passing the record ID from the lead ID.